Dear friends, welcome back to another episode of In the Eyes of Truth. Today with us is Polina Frelih, Polona Frelih. I'm sorry. My power of butchering names is still in full swing. Polona is a journalist. Well, she's a journalist. She's a former correspondent of Dela is Rossi. She is from Slovenia. For those who don't know, pick up a map. It's it's between it's the neighboring country east of Italy that the Italians keep looking east at and going, we want that.
Hey there, entrepreneurs. Are you feeling the squeeze from increasing regulations and higher taxes? Maybe you've noticed the growing instability and thought there has to be a better way. Well, you're not alone, and that's exactly why you need to consider offshoring your wealth now. Imagine a life where your hard-earned money isn't constantly under threat from unpredictable government policies. Sounds pretty good, right? Let me tell you. It's not just a dream, it's a smart strategy. Here at Exit Strategy, we specialize in helping entrepreneurs like you protect and grow their wealth. We navigate the complex world of international finance so you don't have to, from setting up offshore accounts to advising on the best countries with favorable tax laws. We've got you covered. Now, I know what you're thinking. Offshoring sounds risky, maybe even a bit shady, but the truth is many savvy business owners are already doing it. It's not just about dodging taxes, it's about creating a safety net for your future. Imagine diversifying your assets across multiple jurisdictions. When one country faces economic downturns, your wealth remains secure. Think of it as an insurance policy against the uncertainties of life. And let's not forget, having a portion of your wealth offshore can open up opportunities for international investments. You're no longer limited by the economic climate of a single country. You can tap into booming markets around the world, maximizing your returns. But here's the kicker. Time is of the essence. With increasing global scrutiny and tightening regulations, the window for easy offshoring is closing fast. The sooner you act, the better positioned you'll be. So why wait? Protect your wealth, secure your future, and explore new opportunities with Exit Strategy. Don't let the rising dangers in the US economy catch you off guard. Reach out to us today and take the first step towards financial freedom. Because when it comes to your wealth, playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. Thanks for watching, and remember, your future starts with the decisions you make today. Choose wisely, choose Exit Strategy. Catch you in the next video.
So
They want it.
yeah, yes, yeah, yeah, the Italians.
We're not going to give it to them. They can
That's
be sure
right,
about
that's right.
that. Maybe we'll take part of Italy.
Oh yeah, there's those. I think you did have a claim on Eastern Italy.
Yeah, because thirst is ours, you know. We still think that thirst is ours. Trstie we say in
Hmm.
Slovenia.
Well, the last time the Italians won a war, I think, was against Albania. So, and the Greeks beat the crap out of them. That Hitler had to intervene early to put the Greeks down because they were beating the crap out of the Italians. So, I think you could probably take them pretty easily.
Maybe with a little help of Russia.
Why not? Why not? Borders are
Russians
changing.
love Italy, so I don't think you will mind.
No, no, the Italians aren't acting exactly as friends these days. So,
But well, let's not joke too much because some people might understand this not correctly. So
oh
please
my
let's.
God, they're planning World War III on YouTube. Yeah, in a YouTube video. Oh no, we've busted them now. It's
Yeah,
Putin's strategists are planning World War III.
and I felt a little bit more comfortable speaking some uncomfortable truths in Russian because not many Slovenians speak Russian, but
Hmm.
most Slovenians speak English. So
Hmm.
it will be a little bit more difficult to be very uninhibited in this interview.
We did do an interview before that in Russian. So for the Russian listeners, speakers, you can look that up on my channel, Stasodea Bratna. So tell us, tell the English audience, if you will, a bit about yourself and your journey through democracy, if we can call
Well,
it that.
I don't want sound very conceited, but I'm just going to tell what was my achievements journalistic wise. I was a correspondent in Russia from 2007 to 2013. I was just an ordinary mass media journalist. I was reporting the same way as all the mass media in the world, all Western mass media. But then there was a moment that I realized that things are just not the way mass media or Western press reports news about Russia. And this was like the Georgian-Russian war in 2008, if I'm correct.
Yeah, 2008.
Just by chance, I was at the border at the time that the war started, at border passing. And I saw with my own eyes that the conflict in South Ossetia started by Georgian troops attack on Tskhinvali, and only the next day Russian troops went through Roksky Pass to South Ossetia, and then I realized something is not correct, because I saw with my own eyes that the war was started by Saakashvili, and I saw all those tanks entering Georgia, South Ossetia, and everywhere they were like, the war was started, Russia started war and stuff like that. So that was my first moment that I realized that stuff is not just like, it's not like we read in the Western press. Then the second milestone was when I was the only journalist on the Sheremetyevo airport who was invited to the closed door meeting with Edward Snowden. I was the only one who was there. Besides, yes, I didn't tell you last time.
No, you didn't.
I was the only journalist, yes, at the Sheremetyevo airport who was allowed to the closed door meeting. And I was there with all those human rights organizations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and all those that you call in Russia right now foreign agents. And I realized that they were not actually there to help Edward Snowden. They wanted to, they were just like a mouthpiece of the American establishment. Like, for example, the lady from Human Rights Watch, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to get too personal. He just told Edward Snowden at that meeting, if you go with us, Americans promised me that they won't hurt you. They will not prosecute you. And that was the second time that I realized that human rights organizations are not what they are. What they are supposed to do. They are supposed to support human rights, protect human rights, but they are like just the left or right hand of the American establishment, mostly. Not all, but the two of them that I mentioned, like Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, definitely. And my eyes opened completely when I went to Donbas in 2015, and I saw the atrocities that Ukrainian troops were doing to the civilian population there. I want to mention especially, I was really shocked the way they treated old babushkas. They who were like they give all their life to the Ukrainian state, and they just diminished, or actually their pensions were gone. All those children, they were like hiding in the basements. Like in one village called Stepanovka, there were like villagers telling us that the Nazi battalions, Pravi Sector, or they were like actually shooting on irregular Ukrainian troops if they didn't want to shoot on the civilian targets.
Yeah.
That's and when I came back to Slovenia, I was like, I just want to help these people because they were left completely by themselves. but no one wanted to listen to the stories I wanted to tell. I for a period of time, I wrote a couple of articles, and then the Ukrainian diaspora started like prosecuting or attacks on me, and I actually left the journalistic profession at that time, not because I had a small child and I actually didn't want to deal with them anymore. And I was actually quiet for quite a long time, but then when this special military operation started, I thought like, oh, it's my moral obligation to tell my part of the story, to tell how actually everything started in eastern Ukraine. And I was fortunate enough that one independent TV station invited me, and I gave like an hour-long interview. And it started all over again, these attacks from Ukrainian diaspora.
Yeah.
And even, for example, can you imagine, even today, there I have like some people that support me, and even today they send me like some screenshots from Facebook. One Ukrainian lady is again like, oh, we have to make a list of pro-Russians people in Slovenia, for example, like Polona Frelih, he's already on Mirotvorets and stuff like that. I'm not even active as a journalist anymore, but I'm the first target still. Can you imagine? I didn't write a journalistic article since 2016. And I'm still the main target of radical Ukrainian diaspora. And we had like a really two newsworthy events in Slovenia lately. One was like last week, former Ukrainian First Lady Elena Zelenskaya came to Slovenia on the invitation of the husband of our president. And she was supposed to give lecture at the University of Social Sciences, but then this group, Slovenia Against Russophobia, I don't know how they prevented this lecture. They were like writing petitions. How can a person like this give lecture at the university? And then they took her to public library, and there was one protester there, and he said, we just want peace. You know that Russia is winning. And so the visit didn't go as planned, And when there were like articles about what happened to Zelensky, it was also, again, my name. And I was like, even not in Ljubljana. Can you imagine? What kind
Just
of
going down
person
the list. Who they had.
I'm like, I don't know. I can be quiet for 20 years and I'm still going to be the number one enemy. But what's really good news? Because if you listen to people understand everything, they know what's going on. They know what's happening, but our political elite is completely detached from the will of the people. And the second news, so this is not a good news, but it's not very bad news, but it's kind of depressing, and it confirms that our political elite doesn't listen to the will of the people. Yesterday, the new European Commission was approved, and Slovenia got Commissioner for Enlargement, a Slovenian lady named Marta Kos. She was also a journalist, a correspondent from Germany. Our right is accusing her that she was a former UDBA employee at UDBA. It's like Yugoslav Secret Service. But she was approved, and she's a new commissioner for enlargement. And today she said that her first trip is going to be where? Can you guess?
Well, of course, Kiev. Where else?
Okay,
She has to bend the knee to.
of course. So this proves that our political elite is, I don't know where. They
But
don't listen to
wait a
current
minute.
trends. They don't know what's going on. I don't know. And for example, Slovenia was part of Yugoslavia,
Right,
and there
of
is
course.
Serbia waiting. I don't know how many years to enter European Union. Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and she chooses Kiev.
But wait a minute. Isn't that
But
how
no, I
democracy?
mean, they made her choose Kiev.
Of course.
She doesn't do this by herself. She was told to do it. So we are
But
not, as I told you
Mhm.
in the last interview, we are not even a colony. We are sub colony.
But isn't that how democracy works? I mean that you don't have to listen to what the people want, just do what you want to
Yeah, of
do.
course.
That's
That's
democracy.
democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we would prefer to live in a dictatorship right now.
Well, if you ever wonder about democracy, just look at Moldova.
Yeah,
Uh, the people
exactly.
outside of Moldova, like the mystery 500,000 or more people suddenly decide to vote. The ones in Germany and France and wherever else they typed up the ballots.
But you know what I liked about Zelensky visit? Because we have one independent newspaper, like SME.
Hmm.
It's called Insider, and they wrote a really good editorial because they told such a shame that they took Zelensky to the public library, and there were like so many thousands, millions of Russian books burned
Yeah.
in Ukraine, in Kiev. So I think Slovenians are pretty much well aware of what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, it, Ukraine is the ultimate democracy that could ever be on earth. That's where you get to kill off, you get to ban your opposition, you get to shoot their leadership or imprison them, nationalize all the media under one head,
Umbrella,
ban
yeah.
elections, burn books. That's democracy. I mean, it is the perfect Western democracy. In Russia, we have a term for what's going on for the rest of Europe. It's called Ukrainization.
It's, exactly. And Ukrainization is going on even in the Western Europe,
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
absolutely.
It's a model. It's like spreading like some kind of mold everywhere.
I think it's more than a mold, more like a very viral infection.
Yeah, very
Syphilis.
viral. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So, what about situation in Russia after the launch of Oreshkin?
Well, there's been more, as you know, there's been additional flights of attackams. We're waiting to see what the government does. So you may be very lucky you're up in the mountains.
I'm not
More.
that far away from the Aviano air base, in
Hmm.
Italy. So I don't think we should feel very comfortable. And especially after statements of our politicians and that kind of invitations. So I don't think anyone in Europe can feel very comfortable, and they don't actually. But also I don't really like this fear mongering,
Hmm.
because I cannot even look at this like social media anymore, because there is always, oh, nukes, third world war is already going on for a couple of years. That's my theory,
Oh,
and
yes, yes.
I still count on rational leaders in the East. That's why
Yeah.
I think fear mongering is counterproductive. Because I really believe that all the leaders in the East, like Xi Jinping, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, they are more rational than all these Western and European politicians. And I'm more than the Third World War. I'm scared of economic collapse of European Union, which is inevitable because of expensive energents. And before this interview, I read that Donald Trump already asked European Union for I don't know how many billions of dollars for the money that United States paid for the
Yes.
Ukrainian cause.
Uh,
So
and
I
he's
think,
also planning 25% tariffs on Europe.
yeah,
Yes, yes, he's already announced that. 50%
uh,
on China and 25% on Canada, Mexico, and Europeans.
that's what I'm really scared about. I'm really scared about economic collapse of the European Union, because this is actually inevitable. And I don't know if our politicians are aware of that, or they are actually. I believe they are being blackmailed to accept all of these demands the American deep state puts on them, because otherwise this is actually insanity.
Oh, it is insanity. Absolute insanity.
So I don't know if I'm kind of already tired of reading, commenting anything. I just think I already did what I could do, because now I think it's too late. We cannot stop this crazy train that is going straight into the abyss.
Well, there's one thing about stopping the whole crazy train because the conductors are in, or the machinists are insane, and those are the ones in Germany and France. There's another thing of sitting on that train to the very end and not jumping off of it. The Croatians, for example, already stated there's no way in hell any Croatian soldiers are fighting. That's it. We're not going to play this.
Well,
I think,
that's only a Croatian president said that, but Croatian prime minister is not so straight. I wouldn't bet on his statement.
mhm.
Because they are always in Croatia. They are always playing this good and bad guy, and then on the final instance, they always say what they're told, do what they're told.
Yeah,
They play
yeah.
like tough guys, but I don't think we should judge politicians by what they say.
No, no,
We just
never,
have
never.
to judge them by their deeds. And
Absolutely.
I'm not counting on Croatia. Even about I'm not. I'm also a little bit disappointed about the Serbians. Because they are also sitting on two chairs.
Oh,
I mean,
Vucic,
this is pragmatic. Yes, it's
yeah.
pragmatic, but in crisis situations like today, you have to be a little bit more straight.
I'm sure
That's my
Vucic
feeling.
would join NATO if he wasn't afraid he'd get shot by his own people. I have absolutely no faith in Vucic except to do what's good for Vucic.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He's a
I'm
typical
also,
European politician.
yeah. Well, but we have two politicians that we can count on that are
So far.
rational. Fico,
Hmm.
Slovak prime minister, and maybe Orban regarding Russia. But I'm really surprised about his stance on Netanyahu. because he
Yeah,
invited
yeah.
Benjamin Netanyahu. So I don't know what this game is about, you know.
Maybe he invited him so he could arrest him because I think
No,
Hungary is a signatory. So, so to the ICC, so they'd have to technically arrest him
no,
if
but he said
Netanyahu
no. He said, "Oh, this is a scandal. The ICC issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu. I invite
for
him to,
genocide. You know,
yeah,
nothing major.
yeah, yeah." So I don't know. I'm pretty pessimistic about the future of European Union. Um, Slovenia also, but you know, there is one thing I'm counting on, you know, because people are more and more unsatisfied, and I'm counting on like that if a decree would be issued, like we are gonna send Slovenian troops to the Ukrainian front, that people will rebel.
Hmm?
But like the apathy is really
Yep.
huge, you know. So I'm not even sure about that, you know, because like for example, this we had like protests against wars in Ukraine, in Palestine, and like I think 200 people showed up, you know. So
Well,
apathy is really because the horrors that we are facing today are so great that a lot of people react by becoming apathic, you know.
that's very true, but that's as long as it doesn't touch them personally. It's a whole different
Yeah,
thing when
I,
they say, because, the Slovenian army isn't exactly large. So, yeah, either body bags start coming back in large numbers, and B, they're going to say, okay, now it's the draft. So, okay, now we're going to grab everybody who we can to throw them away on the Eastern Front. And people are going to get very, very touchy when their loved ones or their kids are going to be the ones that have to go fight because of what?
but you know,
Because
this was not the case in Ukraine, you know. 900,000 killed and I don't know how many wounded, and
Ukraine
they
is
are
is
still
is a very different
not
mentality.
rebelling, you know. They decreased the draft age to 18 today. I read in the
Yeah.
read in the Reuters, and nothing is going on. Nothing is going on.
Oh, it's because there's no Ukrainian society. First of all, you gotta the saying "Moя хата с края," my
Да.
hut is at the edge. That's the Ukrainian mentality day one. As long as it doesn't touch me, I don't give a damn. The whole village can burn down. I'm at the edge of the village. I don't care. And since then, there is no Ukrainian society. The church is banned. People are prosecuted. SBU has been arresting people in mass,
Mhm.
disappearing them, and they've been doing it for 10 years or since, 2014. And they've gone up quite a bit more. The people are broken. Mentally, they're broken. Physically, they're broken. Anybody that had any kind of strength, they were either fanatical and they went to fight and died, or either there or they ran away. And the people are left
Yeah.
can't run or don't know how to run and don't have either the funds or the
They
energy.
don't have the means to run
Yeah.
actually.
So it's what's left in Ukraine is just a herd of animals waiting to be packed off and sent to the front to die. Every fifth soldier in Ukraine that's dying up front is a woman. It's 'cause it's the total extermination of the population. Because when you're sending off young women, if you have one man and you have 100 women, you have a future. If you have one man and you don't have 100 women, you have like one woman, you have no future. And that's what they're going for there. It's not just killing off the men, they're killing off the women. And we've had soldiers or POWs captured as young as 14 and as old as mid 70s.
But you know what? Yeah, they're killing women, and the rest is prostituting in Germany and in the West. It's such a such a sad story. Seriously, I really feel sorry for Ukraine. I don't know how could they do something like that to themselves.
Well,
I
yeah.
I've never expected them to be that dumb.
it's an artificial society that was created by the Austrians, then helped be created by the Germans, and then by the Bolsheviks. It's an artificial society. It's an artificial history. It's a degradation, mental degradation, uh, and that's what it leads to. Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia are mono-ethnic, basically, and have a history. This is a society that never had a history. It's Ukraine. It's hinterland.
Yeah.
You never what country has ever been named hinterland? Hinterland means you're the edge of something of another society. So it's and it's just been brought to the conclusion. There is no there's no uh even the artificial Orthodox church that was created.
Mhm.
The Orthodox churches that they seize, they turn them into concert halls, they rent them out to gay societies, and so on and so on. And there is nothing in society at all left except this herd of people that are like animals and just they capture them in the streets and they won't help each other either. It's an amazing thing. You see one guy being captured and beaten, and all these other guys just stand there like sheep. Well, at least it's not me right now. And
You know what? Um, I think this is the also for Western society. The same thing would happen. So actually, I would say the Ukraine was westernized. That's why
that's
they're like
horrible.
that. No,
Yeah.
seriously, it's completely degraded due to the influence of the West, especially United States of America. And
Mhm.
I was like in Chicago this summer, and I met two friends from the university. And can you imagine? They both had Ukrainian girlfriends.
So did the guy that tried to kill Robert Fico. He had a Ukrainian girlfriend too, or wife.
Yeah, named so also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dangerous to have Ukrainian girlfriends.
It literally drive you to murder someone.
No, I don't want to like see. I wouldn't describe Ukrainians like this, all
Yeah,
the society, because that's wrong.
it
It's
is.
very racist to say all Ukrainians are like that, because there are some nice Ukrainians,
Of
but
course, of course.
I don't want to say that Ukrainians are bad. Ukraine is terrible country, yes, but there are some wonderful people also in Ukraine. I
Absolutely.
wouldn't say. That's why I don't want to make jokes about Ukraine, because I think they are really suffering, and I think they are actually the biggest victims in this whole thing. Don't you agree with me?
Absolutely. They're being used as biomaterial. I'm
Hmm.
looking up for a video that a friend of mine sent me, Anton Podkovenko. He is
Hmm.
a journalist at Russia 24,
Hmm.
and the town of Selidovo that was just
Hmm.
captured. It was really very quickly captured by the Russian army. And then about half the population of Selidovo was evacuated west. Another population refused to leave. So what
Hmm.
the Ukrainians were doing is they were massacring the population and they were filming it because they were going to do
Yeah, I know.
another
I've
Bucha.
seen.
And they just didn't
Yeah,
get a chance to get the Bucha out before the Russian army was able to burst through and enter very quickly, and they had to run for it. And the Russian side is videotaping all of these just bodies everywhere that break into people's apartments, shoot them on the spot, shoot people walking on the street. Just there were several thousand. So this is a town of about 50,000 people, or several thousand people that were left, and there's at least 1,000 bodies lying around that were massacred by the Ukrainians, and they were
yeah.
trying to videotape it.
I've read it on
Yeah.
Twitter. You know what? I avoid this kind of horrible news, because it's already going on for too long. When I came back from Donbas in 2015, it was already obvious, because there were like some Russian human rights organizations who were documenting these human rights abuses, about these prisons that Ukrainian army had under the Donetsk airport and stuff like that. And they documented all these crimes about organ trafficking also.
Oh, yes.
Even
Children's organs.
yeah, about selling children's, such terrible crimes. I was actually really depressed for a couple of months when I was reading this. And then can you imagine that I gave all these materials to one of MPs of European Parliament, Slovenian MPs of European Parliament, and I really asked him, can you please just like say a couple of words about these crimes going on in the Donbas? And he said, "Oh, is this legitimate? Isn't yes?" I said, "Yes, it's legitimate. I was there. I can confirm it for you." And he never said a word.
Color me surprised.
Because it would ruin his career, and careers are still more important.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and for example, I was invited to one round table, and then first Slovenian president came to me and he said, "Oh, you still didn't give up."
Well, I'm sorry. On that note, we're gonna have to we are gonna have to give up on the time because we're almost out of time.
He knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And he wanted me not to talk about that.
Polona, I'm sorry, we're almost out of time. It's like I said, from our time limit. I do want to bring you back on if you're willing to continue discussing this, because it's very important for the Russian audience hears this and knows this, but the English language audience, many don't know this. So,
but I think they do. They already know a lot. You have like some English-speaking journalists, like for example Eva Karim Bartlett.